there, Ted Alexander with the season finale edition of Wake Up with Wilder. A look at the ODU football program with head football coach Bobby Wilder. Coach, obviously 4-8, not a record that anybody wanted or expected, etc. And with these types of seasons come difficult decisions.
Yeah, some very difficult decisions. It's been a challenging past 24 hours around here with firing 4 coaches and firing 2 strength coaches. And I want to say these are all good men. These are 6 good people that cared for Old Dominion football and the university. They were passionate guys. They loved the kids. But this is based on results and what happened this year, and not only on the football field, but some things we didn't accomplish in the weight room. And very, very difficult time to do that, and really difficult with those guys because they're good people.
You spend the entire year looking at what happened, what could happen. 4-8. What do you pin it on? Is there one thing?
There's really not one thing, but as I talked to our players about yesterday, our entire team, and this morning our returning team, you can look at some things that really stand out, Ted. You can look at the turnover ratio. We were down at the bottom of the league defensively, almost every category. Bottom of the league, rushing offense, bottom of the league, and then red zone and third down, areas that we were not good at. And to play winning football, you need to be better in those areas. And those are areas we're going to focus on and address this offseason.
When you think about returning players, the guys that had probably a little bit more of an ear in those final few meetings, realizing that this was not the end of their journey, what do you want us to think about when it comes to the returners?
Well, we've got some very talented players on this team, Ted. And when you look for the first time in the history of college football, you could play players in up to 4 games, and we had 18 first-year players that played. 4 of them played the entire season, but 14 of them were redshirted, and those are some very talented players. The younger classes on this team, there's a lot of talent. In our meeting this morning with the 2019 team, those kids are so excited to get going. They want to get that taste out of their mouth, and they understand that 4-8, the difference between 4-8 and 8-4, Ted, I gave them the analogy with Florida International, team that was 8-4, just accepted a bid to the Bahamas Bowl, a team we were leading 17-0, and then we had 2 breakdowns in coverage, gave up 2 easy touchdown passes, and then all of a sudden we stopped scoring points. That was the season in a nutshell. Those games, the difference between 4-8 and 8-4, the Florida International game, the Charlotte game, the East Carolina game. There, you can go right down the list of why. Why is it 4-8 as opposed to 8-4? Well, we talked about some things statistically, but also it comes down to, as I said to our guys, we have to coach better, and that's my responsibility to get that fixed as the head coach, but also we've got to play better. Coaches coach, players play.
And coaches recruit. Huge recruiting year, as every year is. Top of the list, what are you going to be looking for out there as you send the guys out?
Yeah, the number one thing, Ted, is we've been in contact with all the players that have committed. And those guys have been great. They committed to Old Dominion University. Everybody's still all in, even with the changes. The kids understand the changes, the relationships they had with the coaches that are no longer here. They feel badly, but they understand it's part of it. You don't commit to a coach, you commit to a university, and that's what these guys did. And then now everybody else on the staff, myself included, today when I'm done with the final press conference, I'm on an airplane. And we got to go. And right now, Ted, it's immediate. Defensively, we want to get players in here at the mid-year, good junior college players that want to play right now, similar to how we built the program with the Thomas DeMarcos of the world, those players that can come in. So it's every position on defense. It's a defensive line, it's linebacker, it's corner, it's safety. And then offensively, offensive lineman and a quarterback. Those are the positions we've got locked in on right now that we're looking at, and those are the positions that we want to have here in January to start with the workouts and be ready for spring ball.
Did you find when you looked in the eyes of each of the players that are going to return in 2019 and beyond, was there a certain amount of ownership to 4-8, or was it a passing of the buck and no, it wasn't me, it was him type of stuff?
There was a lot of ownership, and there's a lot of players right now that are doing soul searching. There's some players that have eligibility left that will not be returning. There's players that We'll look to go other places. There's players that, a lot of guys through injury, because I should point out, Ted, not as an excuse, but we had a lot of injuries this year. There's some guys that maybe have a year left that they just can't do it. They need to graduate and move on because of the injury situation. So there was a lot of ownership, and there's a lot of guys that looked at it and said, hey, I may need to look at another place. But the one thing I love, Ted, when we ended the meeting, I said to the players, those that return are going to be competing for a championship. Those that return are going to be competing for a bowl game. And I could see the look in their eyes. They feel badly about this year, particularly for the seniors that left, but they badly want to get this turned around. And we're not that far away, Ted. They're just a few games is the difference between the 4-8 and what could have been an 8-4 season.
When you flash back to 2018, there were some personal accomplishments and some incredible things that happened. I mean, just think about the wins, et cetera. What
Right.
stands out to you?
Well, there's some records that were broke. There's 6 players, Ted, that I believe deserve to be all-conference players. There's Blake LaRussa, who's the only other quarterback not named Heineke to throw for over 3,000 yards in a year. Travis Fulgham, Duhart, Harper, between the receiving and then Harper with receiving special teams, O'Shane Zimenez. I mean, what more could we possibly say about what he accomplished this year, and being the only defensive lineman that stayed healthy the entire year and the year he had. And then Lawrence Garner, who missed some games but still ends up with 100 tackles. I believe those 6 players deserve to be all-conference players. We just didn't have enough players play at that level this year.
And I guess it's safe to say that the 2019 season has already begun for you guys.
It has begun, Ted. It started this morning when we had our first meeting with just the returning players and the coaches that will be here. And we're going to add coaches to the staff, Ted. We're going to get better. But I'm so excited about the possibilities for 19. They've got to form their own identity. They're ready to get to work. A bunch of them were already headed for the weight room. They want to get the season started. They want to get going now.
Folks, whether it's been a great season or not so great season, you always have to turn the page and look ahead. That's what we're doing here today, Coach. Enjoy the offseason and good luck out there on the road.
Ted, appreciate you and your effort this year. Also want to point out Antrell and Wendell behind the camera. As you know, Ted, and Eric Bohannon knows this, these guys every day show up and give unbelievable effort, whether they're out in a lift in the rain or the cold, or all the video they do for all our players, our coaches, what they put together for social media, and what they do for our team is just, I can't thank those guys enough, and thank you for another great ride.
Appreciate it. That's been the latest Wake Up with Wilder here on Monarch Media.
Have a great off season, everybody.